Mira was a young girl from a small town in India. She was 21 years old and had just completed her graduation in English literature. From her childhood, she had always been fascinated with the English language. While her friends loved movies and games, Mira loved reading English storybooks and newspapers. But though she loved the language, she struggled with one thing: communication. She could read and write in English very well, but speaking fluently was difficult for her. Whenever she tried to talk in English, she felt nervous. Her tongue would stumble, and people would laugh sometimes. This made her more shy. Still, she had one big dream in her heart. She wished to study in an English-speaking country. She wanted to see how people lived there, how their universities worked, and how she could improve her skills. She often told her mother, "One day I will study abroad." Her mother would smile kindly, but never say much, because she knew their financial condition. Mira's father worked in a government office, and her mother was a homemaker. They were a middle-class family. Sending Mira abroad was not something they could afford easily. One day, Mira's college professor announced that there was a scholarship program for students who wanted to study abroad. The program was competitive, but if selected, tuition fees and living costs would be covered. Mira's heart jumped with joy. She thought, "This is my chance. Maybe my dream can come true." She applied for the scholarship, submitted her essays, and went through several interviews. The interviews were tough for her because she had to speak in English. She made mistakes and felt embarrassed, but she didn't give up. She tried her best to express her ideas honestly. After weeks of waiting, she finally received an email. She had been selected. Tears rolled down her eyes as she read the message. Her parents were proud, but also worried. Sending their daughter so far away was not easy, but they wanted her to shine. With blessings in her heart, Mira prepared for her new journey. Mira flew to London to join her master's program in English language and literature. The city looked so different from her hometown: tall buildings, busy streets, and everyone speaking in fluent English. Her excitement soon turned into fear. At the airport, when an officer asked her questions, she struggled to answer. In the hostel, when her roommates introduced themselves, she smiled but could not say much. Simple things like buying food or asking for directions became challenges. At night, she cried in her room. She thought, "Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I don't belong here." But then she remembered the little girl who once dreamed of this life. She wiped her tears and promised herself, "I will learn. I will not give up." Mira faced many struggles in the first few months. In classrooms, professors spoke very fast. She could understand some words but missed many others. When group discussions happened, she stayed quiet because she was scared of making mistakes. Sometimes her classmates thought she was not interested, but the truth was she wanted to speak, just couldn't. At grocery stores, when the cashier asked questions, she would freeze. People would repeat their sentences, and she felt embarrassed. Even ordering coffee at a cafe made her nervous. She often thought in her mother tongue and then tried to translate into English, which made her slow. But Mira was determined. She started small. At first, her voice trembled. She used short sentences, but slowly, with every meeting, she became a little more confident. She also changed her habits. She started watching movies in English language and started watching English shows with subtitles. Most importantly, she forced herself to talk. She made a rule. No matter how many mistakes she made, she would speak. When she went to buy groceries, she would start with a smile and say, "Hello, how are you today?" Even if her sentences were broken, people appreciated her effort. Some were kind and corrected her gently. Her roommate, Sarah, noticed her struggles and helped her. Every evening they sat together, and Sarah asked her to tell one story from her day in English. At first, Mira's stories were only 3 sentences long, but gradually they became longer. Sarah never laughed. She encouraged her, which gave Mira strength. After 6 months, a big change came. During a class discussion about Shakespeare, the professor asked Mira for her opinion. Her heart raced, but she remembered all the practice she had done. She spoke well. The classroom fell silent for a second, and then the professor smiled and said, "Very well said, Mira." That was the first time she felt proud of her English speaking. From that day, she raised her hand more often. She made friends with students from different countries. 2 years passed quickly. Mira completed her master's degree with good grades. At her graduation ceremony, she stood proudly in her gown, holding her certificate. Her parents watched through a video call, tears shining in their eyes. She remembered the shy girl who once cried in her hostel room, afraid to order food in English. Now she could give presentations, write research papers, and chat comfortably with anyone. Her journey taught her that dreams do come true, even for a middle-class girl, if one works hard and never gives up. And whenever young students in her hometown asked her, "Sister, was it very difficult to study abroad?" she would smile and say, "Yes, it was difficult. But difficult is not impossible. If I can do it, so can you."